Please subscribe.
The 2020 Kia Soul hatchback scopes in its intended interest group by going for the edges. Outre style, light-up speakers, and a low-value address outskirts customers who wouldn't fret exchanging style for substance. The Soul's mystery? Its hatchback common sense, eco-friendly powertrains, and come ride or directly down Broadway for some purchasers. This year, the Soul is new, however holds the attributes that made it an unexpected hit in the US. We rate the new Form 6.4 before security is included. That score may rise once it's accident tried. The new Soul is accessible in LX, X-Line, S, X, and GT line trim levels. Kia hasn't yet said how much each will cost. However, base vehicles will begin around $18,500 and top trims will entice $29,000. The Soul's sweet spot will be near $21,000, in any case. The current year's Soul is unobtrusively not quite the same as the vehicle it supplanted. It's greater by inches, however the equivalent square-shaped profile has returned. We like the new face, which is more bound together than the active adaptation's part grille. Distinctive trim levels wear various accents. Inside, the inside lights are higher and the speaker spreads are unique, however it's as yet useful and agreeable for grown-ups. The base powertrain is the best, a 2.0-liter that makes 147 pull mated to a programmed transmission. The Soul is not really quick. However, it's lithe around town and its equipping makes it a decent urban runabout at more slow speeds. The discretionary motor is a 1.6-liter turbo 4 that is peaky and collaborated with a finicky programmed transmission. We don't prescribe it. The Soul is likewise accessible with an electric powertrain that we spread independently. The Soul's pride is in its bundling. It's agreeable for 4 grown-ups, with a lot of extra space to move around for 6-footers or taller. The hatchback has a simple passage, which spoke to more seasoned purchasers who gobbled up the last age in huge numbers, and extensive freight territory that opens up to in excess of 60 cubic feet with the back seats collapsed. It's calm, not far off, and more agreeable than its low cost would recommend. Most Souls will be protected. We couldn't support ourselves. Dynamic well-being highlights are incorporated on S trims and higher and incorporate programmed crisis braking and path takeoff admonitions. Top GT lines get the full house, vulnerable side screens, versatile voyage control, and a head-up presentation. Base vehicles skirt dynamic well-being and a couple of common luxuries, however offer 16-inch wheels, Fabrica upholstery, a 7.0-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto similarity, 1 USB port, and a low cost. A major, brilliant 10.3-inch touchscreen is accessible on top trims alongside more USB ports, a remote telephone charger and inside surrounding lighting. Moved on from its hamster days, the 2020 Kia Soul's new style will even now be recognizable to generally customers. It's a square-shaped hatchback with little bends that astutely mask from its spending development. The outside is superior to anything great, it's extraordinary. The inside is astute, as well. We give it a 8. With the 2020 Soul, Kia didn't change its effective equation from last time around. It's as yet a block with a buzz. To us, Kia considers it a pig with a knapsack. The trim levels wander somewhat. X-line trims get thick body cladding, however no greater ability. GT line trims get a remarkable grille and red accents on the outside. Its extents are unmistakable without going over the edge. The first Soul touched base during a rush of idiosyncratic hatchbacks, Nissan Cube, Scion XP, Honda Element, however has outlasted them all. A cockroach won't be utilized to publicize the vehicle this time around. Kia claims that its corporate grille has been planted in the Soul's nose, however we don't see it. Rather, the new Soul is more intelligent and more precise than the last form, playing less with its lines along the windows and more with its taillights. Contingent upon trim level, the Soul has one of 3 fog light setups. We like the GT line the best. Around back the Soul is the equivalent, paying little mind to trim level, with wide boomerang lights that range toward the top. Inside, the majority of the Soul is new, despite the fact that the speaker lights return in top trims. The speaker towers and entryways are diverse this year, yet a middle touchscreen still rules consideration. Kia did well to cover the Soul's economy vehicle roots with dashes of flavor. The speakers run near the entryway handles with silver accents. The dark emphasize in the back rooftop column is stepped with a Spirit name. In spite of its cost and passenger vehicle point, the 2020 Soul doesn't dull drivers with a never-ending Monday feel in the driver's seat. The little Kia is splendid and agreeable, however doesn't forfeit efficiency with gobs of intensity or significant size. We state the 2020 Soul is normal among new vehicles, which is better than expected for a class that can't bear the cost of V10s or prescient dampers. It gets a 5.2 motors are offered in the Soul this year, down from a year ago. The base Soul is controlled by a 2.0-liter inline-4 that makes 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque. It drives the front wheels just through a 6-speed manual transmission, or all the more generally, a constantly factor-programmed transmission, CVT. It's the better of the two powertrains accessible in the Soul, and furthermore the least expensive. The fuel-sparing CVT has a mystery. It's greater at low speeds than higher velocities, which makes the Soul increasingly agreeable around town. There's a game mode that solidifies the guiding marginally and revs higher. However, typical is more the Soul's speed. Contrasted with the best-in-class, turbocharged motor, the 2.0-liter inline-4 feels somewhat bulky, yet we wouldn't exchange pace for the 1.6-liter's testiness. The 1.6-liter Turbo 4 discretionary in the Soul GT line makes 201 horsepower and 195 pounds-feet, which is an impressive bounce from the base motor. For the exchange, drivers get a peakier motor that conveys control in a thick manner. It's enjoyable to twist up the turbo at parkway speeds, yet at more slow speeds around town, or in unpredictable traffic there's to a lesser extent a distinction than 36% more torque would propose. Some portion of the issue is the turbo's 7-speed double-grip programmed transmission that we've disagreed with previously. At low speeds, the programmed feels like it delays, even moves back in rush hour gridlock, and at moderate speeds the changes can thump through gears. Proprietors have revealed that the issues get just progressively articulated as the vehicle ages, and we experience issues prescribing any of its applications. The Soul's ride is quiet and formed, edging nearer to comfort than we'd anticipate from an economy vehicle. In spite of riding on a suspension arrangement that is regularly known for its ease rather than low choppiness, the Soul was quiet on an assortment of street surfaces. Our turns in the driver's seat came behind GT line and X line vehicles, which both element tall, 18-inch wheels that can harden rides. We didn't see any unforgiving rides, and even with the GT line's stiffer suspension settings, the ride was as yet supple. The Soul steers with certainty, despite the fact that it could be somewhat heavier than anticipated. As a rule, we like heavier controlling feel, if simply because it feels increasingly sure. The Soul tracks well down the roadway, however between the 2.5 abandons lock to bolt, there's very little development in the wheel such that we'd like. Try not to be tricked. The 2020 Kia Soul is exceptional in its effectiveness of room and space for a tall riding hatchback. 5 grown-ups fit inside the little vehicle, with abundant extra space to move around in the front and back for NBA-sized travelers. 4 is better with wide bears, maybe. Behind the subsequent line, in excess of 24 cubic feet of payload room is accessible with the seats up, or 62.1 with the subsequent column collapsed level. There are various cubbies and racks, and the seats are agreeable for grown-ups, as well even base adaptations. What gives with 5, at that point? The Soul skips on common luxuries like power movable seats in most trim levels or glitz inside materials to hit its low cost. The Soul is excellent among its rivals, which ordinarily rate beneath normal. In advance, the Soul's seats are thickly cushioned and throughout the day agreeable. Most autos get 6-way manual alterations with enough seat travel for drivers apparently wearing stilts. The front seatbacks may squeeze the broadest of edges beneath the shoulders, however it's not awkward. Congratulations on shooting your lots at the exercise center. The back seats are a wonder. Behind 6-footers, backseat riders can be 6-footers themselves and their knees will never contact the front seatbacks either. 3 side-by-side is conceivable in a soul-uplifting news in the event that one touches base as your rideshare on Friday night and kids will effortlessly fit. The entryway patterns for the back seats are somewhat ungainly. Watch your dress, ma'am. Behind the subsequent line is a liberally measured freight region with an accessible plank of flooring that can raise or lower to offer a level stacking floor from the incubate, or an extra 0.8 cubic feet of extra room when brought down. The lift-over stature is misleadingly tall and the incubate is only excessively low for 6-footers to stand up standing underneath it. The sole's fit and completion isn't extravagance grade, however it's not poor either. In many trims, the astounding hatchback has strong materials that vibe solid and cleanable despite the fact that they wouldn't be as intriguing without the particular speaker boards and shapes. Top GT line trims separate from the pack with a huge, smooth touchscreen, lit-up entryway speakers and special instrument group. It's a bucks-up feel for a shabby vehicle, on the off chance that you can manage the cost of it. No accident test information yet exists for the 2020 Soul, despite the fact that it offers some guarantee for a decent score here. Without a folded sole, we'll retain our appraisals. Besides standard security gear, which incorporates 6 airbags and footing and dependability control frameworks, most 2020 Souls will be outfitted with life-saving dynamic well-being hardware. Programmed crisis braking,